Point number 4 pertains to the ways in which laws and commands arise. Here we see another essential difference. Substantive laws have basically an evolutionary, customary origin. In other words, they arise throughout history as a result of processes which take a very long time, and in which certain social groups gradually discover that if they adopt particular pattern behaviors, they accomplish their ends more effectively. This discovery is made in a tacit, implicit manner. There are a number of natural law theorists, and I count myself among them. We espouse the theory that an objective natural law exists and incorporates all the abstract substantive rules which we are discussing, and which comprise the law. Well, this natural law position is compatible with the evolutionist position. For even if natural law exists, and we can have an embryonic intuition of it, the truth is that human beings discover or approach natural law in a constant and asymptotic way throughout the evolutionary process of civilization. The vast majority of substantive laws are customary from the standpoint of the theory of law. Over time, little by little, they spontaneously emerge in an institutional manner, since each generation makes its own small contribution of experience, knowledge, etc. You will find a wonderful statement in Cicero's On the Republic. It is a quote from Cato, who deemed Roman law far superior to the law of other peoples, because Roman law had not been deliberately created by any particular human mind, no matter how wise. The examples of Lycurgus of Sparta and Solon of Athens are given, followed by the assertion that, in contrast, Roman law arose over very prolonged periods of time, centuries and centuries, during which generation upon generation of citizens each gradually incorporated into those substantive laws their own small contributions of experience, knowledge, and sensations. In this evolutionary way, an enormous wealth of practical knowledge was generated, and it greatly exceeds the capacity for assimilation possessed by any human mind, no matter how wise. This is the concept of customary law, as opposed to manufactured legislation, which characterizes commands. Commands are deliberately created. They are what is called legislation, which comes from the person in power, or the government, the one in charge. And in this sense, it makes no difference to us whether the one in charge has or has not been democratically elected. In contrast with the natural law, evolutionist conception of law, which provides the foundation for substantive law, in capital letters, the legal foundation for the legislation which embodies commands is provided by what is called legal positivism. Its leading representative was Hans Kelsen. For a legal positivist, everything a body that represents the people, Parliament, for instance, approves is legitimate, whether the law is a substantive law or it concerns the size of labels or a decision to gas the Jews. This is legal positivism, and it strives to provide justification for the legislation which those in power artificially create, and which consists of commands. Point number 5. The system of substantive laws, the law, in capital letters, which we have just defined, is what makes life in society possible, and what gives rise to the market. That is, the process of social cooperation we know as the market is a process consisting of voluntary exchanges within the framework of substantive laws. Therefore, the law gives rise to the spontaneous market order. The law gives rise to the capitalist system. The law gives rise to peace. Substantive law, the spontaneous order, capitalism, peace. It all goes together. Meanwhile, a system based on commands imposes what is called a hierarchical order. Etymologically, the word hierarchical derives from Greek, hieros and archine. Hieros means sacred, and archine means to rule. Those authorities who wish to impose their ends on us in the form of commands so that we will obey them invariably use two tactics of deception. One, they tell us that the end is marvelous, that the enemy we must fight is wicked, or that we must fight global warming, etc. That is one tactic. Two, they tell us that, furthermore, they are sacred people. I am God, and therefore I am the boss, and you obey me. Hieros, sacred. Archine, to rule. Hierarchine, hierarchical, a hierarchical order. One person gives commands, and everyone else obeys. Thus it should not surprise you that the pharaohs presented themselves as gods. Why? Or that Roman emperors claimed to be gods. Why? Or that in the popular slang of his own administration, a former socialist prime minister was spoken of as God. God said this, God said that. People were referring to the prime minister. Why? Archine, to rule. A hierarchical order arises from a system based on commands, as opposed to the spontaneous, horizontal market order based on exchanges, which arises from substantive law.